Hello, this is Rudy Giuliani, and this is America's Mayor Live. Live from Palm Beach. Because it's windy out, we're indoors, and we've got that beautiful American flag behind us. Isn't that beautiful? Did anybody burn it and not go to jail? Well, let's begin. There's so much to cover tonight that isn't being covered properly or being covered at all. We're going to start with the Adams suck up. That's when Adams met with my friend Tom Homan, and Tom was very, very gracious about how Adams is going to cooperate. This is like Xi Jinping cooperating, fixing China after killing. I mean, Adams is the guy who caused the damn problem. I mean, not a problem, a disaster. He caused a disaster, a living, breathing disaster. 260,000 illegal people, 65,000 being paid for by the city, spending more on the illegals than on the police department. And going around first inviting them, saying it's the best city for illegals, enforcing a law of the city council. Now, he didn't pass this law, de Blasio did, but he could have refused to enforce it because it's against the law. New York has a law, as do these crazy communist left-wing cities in America. And if you have one of these laws, you got to be a communist left-wing city or state. It says that you will not turn over to immigration authorities criminals, people who are illegals. Now, where does a city or state get the right to pass a law to require you to violate federal law? I would think there's somebody that's enough of a lawyer to give him an opinion that the federal law governs. That he took an oath to uphold the constitutional laws of the United States also. And last time I checked, the laws of the United States, where there's conflict, they're superior. Gee, he should know that, given the history of civil rights, when the governors of the states were forced to integrate when they didn't want to and had laws against it, when they were forced to allow counters at Woolworths and other places to be occupied by whites, blacks, and everybody else, even though they had laws against it, when they were required to stop putting black people on the back of the bus. None of those laws were legal. All of them violated after a period of time when the civil rights laws were passed, federal law. I mean, among other things, they should all be prosecuted for obstructing federal law. The city councils that pass it, the state legislatures, the people who vote for it, the people who enforce it. This is like the Nazi prison guards. Oh, gee, we just did what Hitler said. So Adams is now going to cooperate. Kinda. On his terms. I don't know, Tom. Let's see. He bullshits everybody else. Let's see if he's bullshitting you.
Yeah, we're just putting up a quick picture of the meeting from today.
Yeah, I know that. I kind of know that living room. But do we have a little bit of the guy sucking up when he created the problem going back 3-4 years ago in his enthusiastic presentation of New York City as uber sanctuary city. We're better than Chicago. We're better than Baltimore. We're better than anybody. You just come to my city, you'll get everything. Then he did a credit card for him. Now I have a suspicion as to why. And I've kind of told you, but I think I'm going to tell you more directly as somebody who is an expert on this. But can we listen to him bullshitting?
vision to take the next step to this, to go to the faith-based locales, and then move to private residence. There are residents who are suffering right now because of economic challenges. They have spare rooms, they have locales, and if we can find a way to get over the 30-day rule and other rules that government has in its place, we can take that $4.2 billion, 4.3 even maybe now, that we potentially have to spend, and we can put it back in the pockets of everyday New Yorkers, everyday houses of worship, instead of putting it in the pockets of corporations. And some of those corporations come from outside.
What the hell is he talking about? Okay, forget him. If we can't get the shot, we can't get the shot. The point is that from the very, very beginning, he said that if you come to New York, you'll be protected. New York City has always been a city of immigrants, not of illegal immigrants. We're a destination for diversity and like people from jails, like sexual deviants, like Tren Diaragua that you got us, Tren Diaragua. Wasn't here before you, Adams. We're going to every nation seek refuge, remain a sanctuary city under the Adams administration. You'll get an education. You'll get welfare. You'll get whatever COVID money is left. You'll get better accommodations than our own homeless people or veterans. In fact, we kicked the homeless people and the veterans out. And then when it got really, really interesting, he gave them a debit card because they didn't like the food they were getting from the contractors that he overpaid. There's the rub, isn't it? Now, why would Adams want all these people here? Does he like illegals? Do you think it would be fun to have all these illegals here or to screw up the federal government? No, but it gave him emergency power to give out gigantic contracts. And that's what he's under investigation for, among other things. And he wants a pardon. And he wants a pardon for the stupid thing that he's under investigation for, which is upgrading his tickets somehow in some kind of deal with Turkey. I don't know if that case is a good case, a bad case. I do know it's a case that was brought only because the Biden administration is crooked, because Hochul has allegations and things that could be investigated about her that make Adams look like a cheapskate. And she gets away with it because she just sucks up completely and does everything the Biden people want, and terrible governor. But he's a terrible mayor. Absolutely terrible mayor. I mean, he's not de Blasio, which is good. And here's the other thing that's weird. He's probably better than anybody else, which is why New York City is in such terrible condition. This is what happens when you let yourself become a Democrat dictatorship. And you, in the borough of Manhattan, which is filled with politically appointed judges, as you can see, not a single one election district voted for Trump. Manhattan may be the only place in America where Trump didn't do better this time than last time. But Manhattan may be the most crooked government in America, or the four boroughs, the four Democrat boroughs controlled by the Democrat bosses. And not that they work with each other, but all this money being tossed around by Adams is very, very suspicious. And wanting all these migrants are very, very suspicious. When he wasn't really a left-winger. Now, it just could be a coincidence, but it allowed him to give out contracts without any kind of bidding. Just on his own, he could pick this friend, that friend, this friend, that friend, this friend. Oh, yeah, and we can spend that $4.7 billion. But how do we spend it? I guess the federal government will let us know unless President Trump gives him a pardon, which I hope he doesn't. Even though he was singled out, there's just too much floating around of really serious stuff that goes on in New York systemically with the Democratic Party. Not that he's particularly in favor with them, but that doesn't mean he doesn't use the same or might use the same corrupt practices that they use. So we'll have to see. Just in case, the New York Times and Adams agree that immigrants do not commit as many crimes as our own citizens. That used to be true 20 years ago. It's not true today. There's a very different group of immigrants than we had 20 years ago, where what you said is true because a large portion of them are coming over to work. These people are coming over with no border, with no vetting. Even the ones who are vetted are not vetted. So it stands to reason that this is a much higher percentage of criminals, reflected in the fact that 60% of the crime 2 months ago in Queens were illegal. So think about it, Adams. If you had not had a sanctuary city, if you had kept them out, crime would be 60% less in Queens. That's a lot of crime. Just one example in Texas, because it's all over the country, an illegal immigrant from Mexico was just charged with sexually abusing multiple young children while he cut hair at a Texas barbershop. So this is a guy who went and worked. He even threatened one of the children with a gun if she told anyone about the abuse. That's Jose Luis Briceño. And this is just pointed out as one of many, many examples of crimes committed by the illegals, which do seem to disproportionately involve sexual abuse. It certainly involves the trafficking in children and the trafficking in women, greater than ever before in our history. Thank you, Joe Biden, for, among other this woke thing is going to start to turn around. So Brendan Carr is going to be the head of the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission. So there are two big mergers that are up. I want to show you how it turns. Paramount wants to acquire the Hollywood studio Skydance, but it needs the approval of the FCC because it would get it in the position where it could conceivably have monopoly power, the power to affect the price, the power to affect the accessibility against the antitrust laws. However, Paramount has a subsidiary that may very well be in violation of the Federal Communications Fairness provisions. You know which one it is? CBS. It seems that Brendan Carr has already opined that during the 2024 elections, CBS seriously interfered in it and demonstrated a shocking lack of fairness. You remember the debates? They fact checked just one side, right? So that's one. The other one is the other one involves Omnicom and Interpublic. And they want to do a merger, a $25 billion merger. And they're going to be placed under investigation for relying on news rating services for the payment of advertising fees, which use in the determination of the rates whether you're spreading misinformation. Now, misinformation has turned out to be left-wing groupthink, right? So what kind of misinformation would that involve in that period of time? Oh, that Hunter Biden's laptop came from Russia, which of course was not misinformation. It was correct information. But people who censored that information got paid higher rates than people who didn't. Did you ever think that that had anything to do with the rates that people pay for advertising? The government's lying propaganda? This also applies all throughout COVID, doesn't it? When people were quite rightly saying that the vaccine is not a vaccine, anybody who published that was going to get paid less for their advertising, if they got advertising at all, than people who censored it. And you go through a whole, my God, you'd go through a whole unbelievable list of it. And based on that, the FCC could oppose the merger. Chris Ruddy, the founder of Newsmax, I think you all know Chris. He's been on this show, and we're also on Newsmax, I should tell you. We're on at 8 to 9, right, Ted? Yeah. On Newsmax 2.
That's right.
But it's like a podcast. So on Monday, you'll see Tonight Show on Newsmax 2. Is that right? Did I have that right?
You have that right.
Okay. So Chris Ruddy says, I can tell you this. The deal will not go through if these companies rely on those rating services. Chris is a pretty sharp guy. The worm turns. You know, I am absolutely shocked. Maybe I shouldn't be. At all the publicity that the horrible murder committed by this Mangione character has gotten. But now, I mean, I was originally shocked. Let me say, I was originally shocked. Although I did predict that a murder in Manhattan, particularly right in the middle of Manhattan, always gets exploded. But now it's become more than just the murder. Now it's become sort of, it sort of reveals a sickness on the left of serious proportions, which we all know about because some of us, like me, are the victims of it. But it's remarkable and frightening how many people seem to think that it wasn't so bad that Brian Thompson was killed, a father of two, because he ran an insurance company. Well, first of all, we have no idea how he ran the insurance company. Yes, insurance companies deny claims. And yes, they deny claims unfairly. And people bring claims that are fraudulent. And you want me to say which is more? The left wing would say the insurance companies deny claims more. I don't know if the right wing has a position on this. And Rudy Giuliani, as a lawyer all these years, would say, hey, man, it's pretty equal. I know lots of cases, and I knew him when I was a prosecutor. What do you think all those ambulance chasing cases are? I can't put a percentage on it. Wouldn't be shocked if it was half. At least exaggerated, completely made up. Doctors who specialize in phony claims. Anytime you put out one of these advertisements, now this is a little different, the class actions, well, you get real people who are hurt, but then you get a bunch of people who just tack on. So the insurance companies do bad things, and insurance companies have bad things to deal with. And it's pretty damn equal. I don't know, you're going to go around and start shooting the ambulance chasing lawyers? We wouldn't have many lawyers left. I mean, come on. This is ridiculous. This is a fraud matter. This is this is not a matter where you kill people. You know, human life is sacred, or it used to be before we had all these abortions. Now we abort more black babies in Harlem than are born, and nobody seems to care. Now, when the New York State legislature passes a law that allows you to kill babies in the womb at 7, 8, 9 months, and they all applaud for it. Life doesn't mean much, huh? Mr. I feel terrible about this. I was thinking about Mr. Mangione Sr. So Mr. Mangione Sr. was quite a guy, I guess. I mean, he was an Italian. I don't know if he was Italian first or second generation. But do you know that his widow, then now since deceased, who had 10 children, left an estate of at least 30 million and possibly up to $100 million. So Mr. Mangione, Nick Mangione Sr. was the son of a poor Italian immigrant. So he was first generation. And this is second generation we're dealing with. Okay. So Nick Mangione Sr. in Baltimore built a multi-million-dollar business that included nursing homes, country clubs, resorts, a radio station. And as I said, the estate was 30 to 100 million after he died and his wife died. His wife, Mary, who must have been quite a woman, put a clause in her will. I'm not sure I've ever seen this before. And it specified that, quote, anyone charged, indicted, convicted of, or pleads guilty to a felony would be cut out. I don't know. I never heard of that before. Did you, Ted? Have you heard of that?
No, and with the way I trust our system anymore, I would never put that in there.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't put that in there either. I mean, I'd be cut out. Right now, I'm charged with 2. I'm charged with a whole bunch of felonies. I mean, you know how many counts there are in Atlanta and in Arizona. Yeah. I'm charged by the Bidens. Oh, you think I'm charged by the state of Georgia and the state of Arizona? Law partner at Boys Schiller, now at got to give me the name of the law firm. I like to forget.
Wilkie Farr
and Gallagher, and Wilkie Farr and Gallagher, and they're doing the case because this guy Mike Gottlieb, feels sorry for the women. When he said that, he neglected to mention that he was Hunter Biden's former law partner, that he was his law partner at Boys Schiller, and that he was instrumental and represented the crooked company that paid all the bribes to the Bidens. And whether you believe they paid the bribes to the Bidens or not, they were always considered by even the Obama State Department that is Burisma, one of the crookedest companies in Ukraine. And I exposed it. I think maybe there was a vendetta involved. I think maybe it was political. They got a political guy like Gottlieb to bring the case, a guy all tied up with the Bidens, not a Biden-directed case, including what they're trying to do to me now, even to the point of not wanting me to go to the inauguration. Like, I got to treat this like a real case. I do. And the judges get very upset because they say I'm in contempt or, of course, I mean, not that kind of contempt, but the contempt that I really feel for them because of what they're doing to my legal system in my country. I mean, I know the law. These judges are a disgrace. Absolute disgrace. The judges on the D.C. Circuit who sentenced all those J6 people to ridiculous terms of imprisonment and left them in jail without bail. What happened? Did they lose their conscience? Now it turns out that there may have been more FBI and Antifa people in there than Trump people. Oh, I know, 26. There were 26 FBI people there. Most of them there illegally. I don't know what that means. They're illegally. This is what Ray was, among other things, who is a criminal, covering up. Notice he leaves right before the report comes out. Right before the report comes out, they can identify 26 FBI informants, only 2 or 3 of which had so-called permission to be there in the J6 crowd. Something we find out 4 years later, but helpful to know that when they were trying to crucify Trump, me. The J6 committee sued me. They never tell you the case was dismissed because they didn't have a case. They just lied about me. And an Obama appointed judge dismissed me from the case. But they never report that. But the reality is that there were more. There were a lot more than just those 26 FBI informants there. When I come back, I'll tell you about the Antifa people that were there. And somebody's got to do a real investigation of this. Somebody has to solve the Ashley Babbitt murder. Not going to be hard to solve. I could help. I turned over the evidence on that murder within 3 days of January 6th, 4 days, because I had it that night. I'll be right back. Can you get me what's in there? I hope.
To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans. No Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month.
Wow.
Including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast.
These deals are
Yeah, I have the screenshot.
This is Rudy Giuliani back with America's Mayor Live. I have on various occasions explained this to you. But now it probably becomes even more relevant as we start to unravel yet another democratic major crime that has gone unpunished and no one's been held accountable for. And that is the fraud they perpetrated on January 6th, almost 4 years ago. I knew that evening that this was a setup. I knew it was a setup because two women, both of whom had very in-depth knowledge of Antifa, came and showed me a video before it was on television, done by John Sullivan, for which he was paid a lot of money. And if you look at that video from beginning to end, it was a setup video. And it was a setup because it culminated in the shooting of Ashley Babbitt and killing of Ashley Babbitt. And he knew exactly where to be at exactly the right time, had the camera in exactly the right place to get the kill shot, but without exposing the police officer who did it, who was kept secret for about 2 or 3 months. He's now been given that police officer has been given hundreds of thousands of dollars, I believe, or at least $100,000 by Washington, by the Capitol Police. He's been promoted to a captain. He was a lousy police officer before that happened. He left his gun in a bathroom. He had all kinds of complaints against him. They never revealed his identity until much later. He testified in the grand jury, and he never even bothered to say he was in fear for his life, which would be the only justification you would have had for killing her. And of course, if he had said that, it probably would have gone down in a DC jury, which would convict the Pope if he was involved with Trump. I mean, DC juries and the DC court are notorious for being completely un-American and completely unfair. But if you saw this video, when I did, you knew right away that this was a set-up job. These identified to me were a number of Antifa people that were in the crowd with MAGA hats on. And then, before I got a chance to turn it over to the U.S. Attorney's Office, because naively I believed that even though they were trying to set up Donald Trump on this, that a murder would just hit the conscience of a U.S. attorney and they would investigate the Ashley Babbitt murder and bring the murderer to justice. I miscalculated the depravity of the people that did the January 6th hoax because they didn't give a damn about Ashley Babbitt's life that was taken needlessly. Well, I turned this evidence over, but the evidence included the following Twitter, then still Twitter, from, let's be sure you understand what I'm talking about. The guy who filmed this is named James Sullivan. He is all over Twitter and other social media in the buildup to January 6th, giving instructions on how a Black Lives Matter person should dress and act and shoot. And also constantly trying to bring people to Washington to disrupt January 6th. One of his emails goes so far as to say to take Trump out of office. Another one says to take him out. Now, ambiguous language like that used to be treated by the Secret Service when it used to try to protect presidents as a crime. It's a crime to threaten the president. And any words that come close to threat lead to at least an arrest and an interview. He just tweeted it out, came in, and then gave a speech the day before urging people to storm the Capitol. Nothing done about it. He then showed up, he broke in, he committed numerous crimes, and then he was there to film the shooting and the killing of Ashley Babbitt. His brother, John Sullivan, who had been in I don't know what we want to call it, a war with him about what he had been doing, including he already was under indictment for similar kinds of crimes in Utah, where a person was killed. And the brother kept tracking him. And then the brother put this on Twitter several days after January 6th, which you probably have never seen. Would you please show it, Ted? I'm currently working with the FBI to expose and place total blame on John and the 226 members of Antifa that instigated the Capitol riot. I was able to get, can we go down a little further? Okay.
That's the big part.
So now you're going to say, well, maybe that's not true. Well, maybe it's not true that any of those people committed a crime. That's pretty damn good evidence. It's got to be considered. How come you never saw that before? Because the January 6th committee were a group of criminals. That's why. One after another. They covered up a murder. Mary Cheney, what's her name? Boop Boop Cheney? What? Liz Cheney? Poop Poop Cheney? Yeah, Cheney. You covered up a murder. Murder. The unlawful taking of a human life. You covered up that email or text or Twitter or whatever the hell it is. People have a right to consider that. You want to say it's a lie? I say you're a liar. You're worse than a liar. You're a damn criminal. And your old man has gone batty. Maybe it was when he shot that guy. Maybe he really was Darth Vader. How the hell do I know? He had you. You are one miserable human being. Letting that murder. I don't care what you want to say about Donald Trump, about me, about anything else. That woman was unjustifiably murdered. In America, that stands for something, Mary Cheney, you phony, and the rest of them. Like, who was on that committee? Every bum in Congress, right? 2 Republican jerks who weren't even authorized to be there. No other Republican, because Emperor Pelosi, hey, she fell today, huh? We don't know how or why, right?
She fell going down the stairs.
Oh, she fell going down the stairs, not going up like her friend.
In Luxembourg.
Where was Joe? Did Joe push her? I mean, Joe really hates her, right?
Not a fan.
Joe Biden hates her now, right?
Not a fan.
Was she, I mean, I hate to ask this, but I mean, I am concerned for Nancy. Had she had anything to drink before?
Probably.
Did anybody ask?
Question.
Well, I think if anyone had the reputation like she does for being an alcoholic, somebody would ask, right?
Certainly you would.
Was she rushing to get some inside information for her husband so that they could cheat and make a couple million more?
Right.
When Americans can't do that.
So should we? That's right. So we'll keep an eye on Nancy's recovery. Apparently she's.
Did it shake up any of the replaced body parts?
So this happened during a trip in 2010
when I used to run
Luxembourg.
against
She has
her.
been hospitalized.
I said she's a woman who has none of her remaining body parts on her face. Nothing original on her face. Yeah, she's a California. She's put together in San Francisco. Some of those could have fallen off. You know that. That's why they didn't show any pictures of it. Like when she fell, like a big thing could have fallen off or something.
Of course, Pelosi is actually banned from receiving First Communion. And despite efforts by her to appeal to the Vatican to overturn the communion ban, such recourse is no longer available because she was supposed to have brought her case to the Pope within 30 days of the Archbishop's decision to impose the ban in 2022. Pelosi had sought intervention at the Vatican to get the ban overturned, but it is likely too late for her.
You know, this Mangione family and her family knew each other.
That would make sense.
So her father was the mayor of Baltimore, D'Alessandro. That's her maiden name, D'Alessandro. And he wrote about Nick Mangione Sr., who made the millions and whose wife put the thing in the will saying that you can't get any money if you commit a crime, which I guess cuts this Luigi jerk out, right?
Well, two prominent
Some
Italian
leading murder.
families in Baltimore. I was thinking that they knew each other.
D'Alessandro said that Nick was rough around the edges, but a very good guy with a big heart. That's the way he described him. So I don't know what that means, but Luigi attended the Gilman School and the University of another Ivy League graduate.
Man, I wonder if they.
I would send my kid to an Ivy. I did. It was some time ago.
Somebody shooting him in
now, but now I wouldn't send my kid to an Ivy League school in a million years. Pay all that money to get them brainwashed to be communists, and who knows?
Yeah, it's an anti-capitalist.
So they hate they hate all insurance companies and kill some guy as a symbol of an insurance company.
Some nameless.
And then half the left-wing idiots agree with them. Can you believe that? Can you believe the reaction to sick? Unbelievably sick reaction. And I'm going to tell you what it shows. It shows the low regard that we have in this country for human life.
Goes back to abortion.
It goes back. It does go back to abortion, Ted. The reality is that Western civilization, which invented a field of study called the humanities, created the humanities. No other civilization elevated the human being to the level the Western civilization did. I'm sorry, not in Asia, not in Africa, not in Antarctica. The primacy of the human being has been built up from, you take Western civilization back to the Jews and the Greeks, right? So you have the Bible, Moses. Moses was a human being. Moses was important enough that God would talk directly to him and God would guide his people, his chosen people. The Greeks made the human intellect the soaring guidance for the world. We wouldn't have a world if we didn't have an intellect, right? We'd just be a bunch of animals eating each other. The Greeks understood the uniqueness of the human intellect from their own perspective, a religious point of view, but from a philosophical point of view, and the importance of human life. I mean, that runs through Socrates and Plato and Aristotle and the pre-Socratic philosophers, the Roman interpreters of Greek philosophy. It runs through Roman law. It runs through the idea of the Romans, although they were brutal as the Greeks were, and even to some extent, the ancient Hebrews, I mean, stoning, but still, this principle, respect for human life. So the ideal, Caesar's ideal was to make you a Roman citizen. Sure, he would subjugate you, and sure, he would kill you, but if you saw the light, you might be from Germania or from Gaul, but you became a Roman citizen. No one else thought of doing that. That's what created the great Roman Empire for hundreds of years until it fell from within. Like we almost fell before Trump was elected. And then we go through the Dark Ages, and we go through the Renaissance and the Protestant Reformation, the Enlightenment. All of it focused on humanity. And then the great contribution of our founding fathers, where our rights belong to us from God, or because we're human. And nothing more serious than the taking of human life. No one has a right to do that but God, unless it's under very, very strict circumstances of self-defense or defense of society. Well, that's gone. When you have more Black children aborted than born in Harlem, And I don't know, it could be true with white children too. I just know that statistic. You don't have respect for human life anymore. When, as I said before, the people watching the abortion bill in New York get passed and finally making it abortion into the 7th, 8th, and 9th month, applauding and having a party. You don't have respect for human life anymore. And then that's what happens. All of a sudden now, this is like, well, we can understand. We can understand why the Mangione kid blew this guy away. I don't know what. I don't even know if this guy did anything wrong. He came from a relatively poor family. Or the victim. Mangione came from wealth. And he gets killed for something that is extremely debatable. I mean, cut out this left-wing crap. This is not a one-sided story about insurance companies denying claims. It's a two-sided story. It's about false claims. A lot of them. And a whole industry. It's made millions and millions and billions on it. With medical claims, other forms of claims, class actions, phony class actions where the victims get 2 cents and the lawyers get 2 billion. Typical, by the way, of all these ones you see on television where they ask you, were you at Camp Lejeune at any time between this time and that time? Join. It's been going on for 10 years. They've been looking for people. I know some people who tried to join that. And we'll have to put them on the show. They're going to get like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. The lawyers end up making hundreds of thousands and millions. They end up with private planes. And one of the lawyers that went to jail, who was the brother-in-law of the majority leader of the United States Senate, used to fly around in a private plane because of maybe it was the tobacco one or the other one, or.
So that's those nationwide commercials work. They're trying to get a bunch of people together.
They get nothing. You probably get it in the mail. Do you want to join a class action? Yeah, if I want 25 cents and make some lawyer rich. And the judges aren't complicit in this. Somebody's got to take a good look. Somebody's got to investigate the New York City judiciary, for sure. You want to straighten out New York, you better straighten out your judges. Because when you look at the two that were given national attention in the Trump cases, you got two oddballs there. And they're not just oddballs. They're creations of a crooked Democratic Party. And that is not an accident. That's going on. It will continue to go on. And it's been going on just about since Boss Tweed. And nobody's got the guts to do anything about it, including the Bar Association that threw me out for absolutely political reasons, or the law firms that surround them and support them. In particular, which one? Wilkie Farr and Gallagher, which is making itself an instrument of the Biden cabal, the Biden campaign against people who were loyal to Donald Trump and Donald Trump. And if you do business with them or you know them, you should know that. They are a left-wing supporting law firm that engages in unethical and abusive behavior on behalf of the Bidens. And one of their partners was one of the lawyers for the most crooked company in Ukraine that I happened to uncover. And he never disclosed when he brought the case that he was a partner of Hunter Biden and that he represented the company that I exposed. That is a well-known crooked Ukrainian company. And it's not part of the Biden cabal? Of course it is. and Wilkie Farr underwrites it. Not the only law firm that does that. Washington law firms are notorious for the kinds of things they do that are against the interests of the United States. I mean, it's not called the swamp for nothing. I put in at least occasion spent on DEI, which is now going out. Well, they say that since 2022, at least $1 billion was spent on DEI. They have it broken down as $490 million for DEI hiring efforts. They just gave this out to states and cities. $343 million for DEI reprogramming, and $170 million for DEI related mental health, particularly mutilation and sex change. And they have a budget of $238 billion for just fiscal 2028. So one of them, for example, is a $21.5 million grant to Montgomery County Schools in North Carolina, which is for professional training for instructors on equitable instructional and disciplinary practices to increase student achievement and decrease incidents of inequality and equitable disciplinary practices. So they're being trained not to treat some children worse than others. And I'm sure it's based on race, right? Without any doubt. And that was for $21.5 million. That's a pretty good gig, huh? Treat everybody equally. Give me my $21.5 billion. Or how about the Ypsilanti Community Schools in Michigan? And they got only $15.5 million. But they gave out big contracts to all kinds of consultants. You got $19,500 from Ypsilanti, Michigan School District for if you gave a one-day course on being culturally responsive as a teacher. Now, I used to get paid a lot for speeches, but I never got $19,500 for like teaching cultural. I did, but I never taught culturally responsive teaching. And then they paid a lot of that $15.5 million out to the people who wrote these ridiculous books about equity. You know, we're not about equal rights. We're about equal results. We can change the rights so that everybody ends up coming out the same way. So if I win the race and you come in second, you win too. In Philadelphia, there isn't anything honest about Philadelphia, they had a $4 million program for restorative justice, which was supported by the sister of Angela Davis, a Communist Party member. DEI is on its way out. Let's hope it's on its way out. I think it is. Do you think it is, Ted?
I do. I think winning. I mean, the tide's turning, and President Trump, his victory played a big role in it, and of course, programs such as this make a difference as well.
Well, we have this drone issue, right?
Yes, we do.
And it's very interesting because out of nowhere, one of the biggest liars in the last 4 years reemerged yesterday to lie again. And that's Admiral Liar Kirby. I say that with great disappointment because I have great respect for generals and admirals. And but when they're liars, they can really be terrible liars. And Kirby has spent 4 years lying to the detriment of the national security of the United States, for which he should be ashamed of himself, and they should rip all the damn stars off whatever he's got on his shoulders. But now he's lying about drones. He's on his way out. I mean, why don't they just keep his big, fat, lying mouth shut? You're going to get some kind of cushy job with some left-wing group of communists, I'm sure. But here's the situation. Since about November 17 or 18, there have been a significant number of sightings of what people, and including professionals, believe are drones over the state of New Jersey, a few over Staten Island. If you want to take a look at the board there.
Yep, I am.
Okay. You can see a few of the places where they tend to be close to the shore, right? So there's Red Bank, Freehold, Asbury Park. Those are all fairly famous places in New Jersey. They'd be about an hour south of New York if you went on the New Jersey Turnpike.
And
So
hang tight, Rob. We'll be right with you.
now those things that you see, those little dots that you see, are where the sightings were. Notice a couple of them are right on the shore, right on that's the Atlantic Ocean, right on the shore. Long Branch, I don't know if you see that, Oceanport, Red Bank. Then right on the shore, they're going up a little north, up to Chesapeake State Park, right below Chesapeake State Park. And then as far south as Pleasant Beach. Now, if you go further south, you'd be in Atlantic City, famous Atlantic City.
That's right. And
You will see if you go down to the bottom and you see Point Pleasant Beach, where there were 2 drone sightings, and you look a little,
standing in the light.
you'll see the Garden State Parkway. That Garden State Parkway takes you from northern New Jersey all the way down to southern New Jersey, and that's the road that people mostly take to go to Atlantic City. So altogether, since November, I don't know if it's November 12th or November 18th that they started this operation, including some by the Coast Guard, identified as drones. So we have with us Rob Kaufman, our buddy, and he's in. Where are you, Rob?
I'm in Secaucus, Mayor, as the name goes. Rob from Secaucus. I'm coming to you from Secaucus right now.
Home of the New York Football Giants and the New York Football Jets.
Yes, out that way. The main mall. What do they call it? I forget. The American Mall.
Meadowlands MetLife.
Yeah,
The
gigantic.
MetLife Stadium.
Yes.
So tell us about this. Now, you're a little inland from
No.
where these drone. No,
No, I'm in Secaucus.
Have you had some drones?
Well, earlier today, when the dusk. Well, I could tell you this. This is what I do know. That from reading about it, that they seem to take to the air mostly, throughout various New Jersey locations, beginning at dusk, and up until 11 p.m. is when people have been reporting seeing them. Now, at the time the sun, about 30 minutes after the sun went down, I started looking. I saw something up here, but you're going to see a lot of moving lights because Newark Airport is right over there. But I saw one light, and I mean, for 20 minutes, the thing didn't move. I made a mental notation of it. I went in to do a few things. I came back, it was gone, And so it's a little strange. I think there may have been one. You can't be sure because lights look like lights in the side. But now I've had other people, my people who are on the ground down in South Jersey, central South Jersey. These people are reporting it's not so much that they're even seeing them; they're hearing them first. They hear them buzzing from above their house,
Yes.
and that initiates them to go outside and look. And they're telling me indeed that they do see these drones, which are very odd looking, up above their house. They're humming and hovering, and that's the reports that I'm getting. And the areas, you're anywhere from Trump National Golf Course in Bedminster. You have them reports there. You have round.
We lost Rob. We'll try to get him back on. His internet was starting
just to supplement what Rob is saying, the Coast Guard, which I think would be fairly reliable, has witnessed 50 drones from the ocean, going from the ocean to the land and then going back to the ocean, which is consistent with a report from Congressman Van Drew, who says that there's I don't know what to call it, a mothership or
that's what they're calling
out in the Atlantic that they're going back to.
They're calling it.
And he wants it investigated. Well, as you can see, the Biden administration is doing like they did in everything that's happened while they've been in office, which is deny it. Like they originally denied the balloon. Remember the big surveillance balloon that China used to take detailed pictures of our military installations and send them to China.
So what we have now.
So you've got to be pretty sure they are drones if Kirby says they're not. Kirby said yesterday, and he may have changed it a little bit today. Kirby said yesterday, and I want to quote it correctly.
We'll bring it up too.
Upon review of available imagery, sounds very admiral-like, right?
Yeah.
Upon review of available imagery, it appears many of the reports of sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully.
Let's play them now.
So far, there's not a single report of a manned aircraft that's being operated lawfully that's been mistaken for a drone. Kirby, you liar.
Do you want to play them or no?
Yeah, play the liar.
Okay.
Security or a public safety threat, or have a foreign nexus. The Department of Homeland Security and the FBI are investigating these sightings, and they're working closely with state and local law enforcement to provide resources using numerous detection methods to better understand their origin. Using very sophisticated electronic detection technologies provided by federal authorities, we have not been able to, and neither have state or local law enforcement authorities, corroborate any of the reported visual sightings. To the contrary, upon review of available imagery, it appears that many of the reported sightings are actually manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully. The United States Coast Guard is providing support to the state of New Jersey and has confirmed that there is no evidence of any foreign-based involvement from coastal vessels. And importantly, there are no reported or confirmed drone sightings in any restricted airspace.
That is exactly what they said for a couple of days about the Chinese massive surveillance balloon. And then they said it wasn't able to take pictures. And then they lied and lied and lied. I don't remember if he led the lying or it was Little Red Lying Hood or the liar that he had, the little teeny liar he has now. But a combination of some of them, they just completely lied about basically China raping us with the consent of our president and with the escort of the United States Air Force, so that it got really good, clear pictures. Had to be part of the repayment for the $31 million that the Bidens got from China. Now, I don't know. Did anybody check with the Coast Guard? Apparently, the Coast Guard witnessed 50 drones flying from ocean to land, back to the ocean. I don't know. I didn't see it. That's what it says here. The first sighting, they say, was November 18th. It's illegal to fly drones over military facilities without permission. Apparently, they either flew over or near the Naval Weapons Station, Earl, and the Picatinny Arsenal, an Army Research Center in New Jersey. Actually, that center does research on drones. Why the hell weren't they shot down or taken down? Well, or if we're worried about their landing on land, why don't we shoot them down when they go back over the ocean? Maybe we could pick them up, figure out what's in them. Oh, we got the FBI doing it. That gives me a lot of confidence, like it does with the Trump assassination attempts. Now, if you see, if you're taking a look now at some of these, it might be worth taking a look at some of these. There's one right there.
It looks to be of substantial size.
Yeah, that's a what did the liar say? That's a I'll make sure I get them right here. That's a manned aircraft being operated lawfully. Where's the paperwork? How come so many are out? 3,000 manned aircraft flying around New Jersey? Where the hell's it going? Does it have a land?
Oh my gosh, bro, look at that. Look
They
at that.
must really, as Van Drew says, they must really think we're stupid.
Yo, that's the closest one we've gotten so far. The tree's blocking it. Oh, bro, oh my gosh, look at that. They're four-way rectangular. Oh, it's got blurry. Damn it. Oh, there you go.
What are they
Oh
covering
my gosh,
up
bro,
for?
look at that. Look at that.
What's this guy covering up for?
Yo, that's the
Did you
closest
just
one
say
we've
we
gotten
don't know
so
what
far.
they are?
The tree's blocking it. Oh, bro,
We're
oh
able
my
to
gosh,
figure
look
it
at
out
that.
yet because
They're four.
we're not only crooked, we're stupid and lazy. I don't know where Kirby's been all this time. He's been hiding some. I thought he had gone to a liar rehabilitation center, but apparently it was like the kind of rehabilitation center Hunter Biden went to. He tells us these are legally operated aircraft, but he doesn't present a single example of one with the paperwork for it. A legally operating aircraft has paperwork, whether it's private or it's an airliner. Otherwise, it's illegal. Oh, but that doesn't matter. Everything they do is illegal. Meanwhile, the useless, completely useless Democrat, and whenever I say Democrat governor, you can just put useless in, because Murphy is siding with, nothing to worry about, nothing to worry about. Just like when he killed all those old people, sticking them in the nursing homes. So nothing to worry about, nothing to worry about. Don't worry, you're old enough, you should die anyway. I'm sorry, New Jersey. You elected them. I told you not to elect Murphy. I told you. He came close. No cigar. I mean, I look, I'm only looking at what you're looking at, and I'm reading what I'm reading in the biased newspapers. And I see that the Coast Guard has identified 50 as drones. I see that law enforcement has identified a group of them as drones. I see Kirby lying and presenting no evidence, which would be really easy. A manned aircraft that are being operated lawfully. There's paperwork for that. Why don't you show? Come on, put out the paperwork. Identify one of those as what is it, Boeing? I hope it's not Boeing. They're in enough trouble. I mean, it doesn't interest you that maybe, this could be maybe China. This could be maybe Iran. They do want to kill Donald Trump. Well, that may be an it doesn't look like an airplane. That looks like a drone. It looks like a square. Airplanes are not square. I mean, I don't know if we can do a close-up of that damn thing, but I mean, if you had a guess, which is better than lying, that looks like a drone. I never saw an airplane that looks square like that, unless it's an unidentified flying object.
With everything else we've experienced these last few years, Mayor,
But why,
why the heck not?
They're going to go down lying.
Yes, they're gonna end they're gonna end as liars.
There with our lens.
Remember when we did? Yeah, we still have our lenses from the.
Oh, who would have thought? We got to get Rob our lenses, and we got to get him a better internet connection. So we've been playing videos here. This will be interesting to see how this is resolved.
This is from. I'm gonna read this to you because this is a close situation we want to be very careful about. But this comes from a report in the New York Post, and it's written by Isabel Vincent. I'm going to read this to you, and you see what you make of this. As a highly secure facility, they're talking about the Picatinny Arsenal. The Picatinny Arsenal is one where they work with drones and experiment with drones. And the spokesman for the Arsenal said it has nothing to do with these. At that time, this is today, over 3,000 reports that have been made just to the FBI since the beginning of November. The Colonel Craig Bonham says that they are not the result of anything being released from the Picatinny Arsenal, which has drones. And then it goes on to say, as a highly secure facility that develops and tests new bombs, guns, ammunition, and warfare devices for all branches of the military, it is a target for espionage by foreign adversaries. The facility itself has recorded 17 confirmed and unconfirmed sightings of drones over its territory since November 13th, which was one of the earliest sightings over the state, according to Bonham. A confirmed sighting is one verified by security personnel at the military installation, while an unconfirmed sighting relates to those reported by others, including local residents. 17 confirmed and unconfirmed sightings by a military installation has to get you at least curious, huh? Overall, the arsenal supplies 90% of the Army's lethality and all conventional ammunition. That's a pretty important facility. Robotic Research, which is the LLC developing the anti-WMD drone, didn't comment. Not a good sign. But somebody, I mean, you think if Trump were in office, we would be going through days and days of figuring out what these damn things are?
No chance.
But, you know, you voted for these people. I don't know.
We'd already have a deal with the aliens if Trump was in office.
So what do you think, Ted? You're looking at it, and Stephen, you're looking at them too. What?
There's a chance that it's actually our own government, the feds, and now that the cat is out of the bag, they're figuring out how best to kind of let us know what's going on. That's best case scenario, really. Stephen?
Talk loud, Stephen.
Yeah.
Well, I actually kind of also think that it's maybe it's an operation that we're not supposed to all be aware of at this time. Maybe out of cause of concern. Maybe they're looking for something within our country, and this is just our own surveillance state. Maybe they're just disorganized and haven't communicated with the right people to let everyone know who they are. I mean, I can't tell you. I don't know.
Well, all I can tell you is this shouldn't happen in a democracy, in a country of laws. People shouldn't have to be, for what is it, since at least November 13th. So almost a month now, have to watch these things going over their houses, making noise, not knowing what they are, and being told a crock of shit about it by a bunch of shitheads that are in the White House. What else are they going to do to us? They only have a month to go.
They're,
They're trying to get us into a world war.
as we know it.
Why don't they just, can he resign? I mean, sometimes you can resign early and let your successor just come in. I guess you can't do that with the presidency, huh? Be a lot safer. Go, I don't know what this guy or his cabal around him has in store for me or you. I know what he's doing to me. I mean, it's highly personal and just me, but they're trying to destroy me with Wilkie Farr and Michael Gottlieb. And not going to do it. Not going to destroy me. No matter what else he's got in mind, he's not going to destroy me. No matter how much these judges want to take my deposition on Christmas Day or want me to fly back and forth 14 times and take away everything I have. Oh. Did we? I didn't wear my watch tonight, but I didn't. But we haven't put out.
We'll do it Monday.
A very careful explanation.
Monday.
Of the watch. So, all my watches have been taken from me by Judge Lyman. He's the United States District Judge in Manhattan. He was appointed by President Trump. He was appointed as part of a deal in which the two Democratic senators named him, and he is a very committed left-wing Democrat, and his father was too. I knew his father. Father was a lawyer in the Southern District, a very famous one, who I litigated against, and very left-wing. You can look at all the causes, the left-wing causes that he and his brother support. In this particular case, there's this judgment against me, and it's on appeal. The appeal hasn't been heard yet, and appeal hasn't been decided yet. But these people want to take all my property anyway, all my property. And they actually want to sell it before the appeal is granted. Now, the law entitles me to certain things, but the judge has taken those away from me. So it entitles me to one wristwatch. He wouldn't let me have one wristwatch. So see. So I didn't want to wear the wristwatch before I explained to you that Mike Ragusa, who works on this show, but he's in New York now, he's coming down here about a week or so to help us. Mike sent me a wristwatch as a loaner. So when you see a silver wristwatch on my wrist, Michael Gottlieb and all of the Biden Easters at that Biden law firm, don't put me in jail. I'm not in contempt. In a legal sense, I'm not in contempt. Whatever I feel internally, that's a different matter. So when you see the watch, I don't know, don't start knocking down the doors like you've been doing for months and months and months. They actually subpoenaed somebody for a deposition on New Year's Eve. They may have one on Christmas Eve too. They scheduled the trial, but they have like about 90 depositions they want to take for like a 2-day trial. They're harassing every single person. My son's best friend, anybody they can harass. They want them to fly to New York. I think they got to pay for that. But it's like has nothing to do with anything other than shut me up, keep me quiet. And they know it's not working with me, but it is working with others. I had a terrible time, and still I'm not sure if I have a lawyer to represent me for the contempt they want to bring me before the most vicious J6 sentencer. You know, J6 is the one where the FBI, until now, was hiding the fact they had 26 people in there, or hiding that email that I showed you about 200 Antifa people. You didn't know that, right? There were 200 Antifa people in there, according to James Sullivan, brother of John Sullivan. You didn't know that, right? Well, the J6 committee never analyzed that. They never called that man as a witness. I mean, the FBI told him he's not the FBI. You're going to rely on the FBI? I mean, how many times they tried to frame Trump? I mean, how many times do you get to lie and then get to lie again? As often as stupid people will believe it or crooked people will propagate is the answer, right? So I think a lot of stuff. I mean, January 6th is entitled to an honest investigation. And I think what you're going to find is what I knew at about 6 o'clock at night on January the 6th. It's a setup. It was a setup to make certain that Trump could never return as president. It backfired on that basis when they went too far and they started comparing it to September 11, to Pearl Harbor, Civil War, War of 1812. It backfired when it backfired again during the election when they selected Tampon Tim as the vice presidential candidate, and all the pictures were shown of all the riots in 2020 that had fires. January 6, 2021 was one that didn't have a fire or anywhere near the destruction of property that the people who were let out or the number of people dead that the left-wing Democrat supporters inflicted on us with a couple hundred riots that were all violent. The level of violence on January 6th, if you look at it carefully again, don't get all upset. They once took me off the air for saying this. There's a fair argument to be made that the police induced it by the use of tear gas. And the police officer who was buried with a state funeral, according to the D.C. coroner, didn't die of anything having to do with January 6th. He died of a heart attack a day later. That whole thing by Pelosi was part of her daughter's movie. We hope she's doing well after the fall. I mean, I mean that. I don't want to see her hurt. I would think there'd be some curiosity as to, particularly since there were these rumors about her drinking too much. If it was some Republican, somebody would be going around asking, did she have a little too much to drink? But she's not a Republican. She's one of the people in the golden circle of criminals, which is why she gets to trade on inside information and become a multi-millionaire while she's in Congress, like they all do, or at least the ones who are anti-American do. We're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back because I have a few things to close out for the weekend. The Tunnel of the Towers Foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. John is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the family home for Amber and their 2 daughters. The foundation has helped over 1,000 military and first responder families navigate the worst of times by removing the burden of a mortgage payment. Our nation's heroes and their families need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org. T2T.org. Please donate now. Well, as we, this is Rudy Giuliani. We're back with America's Mayor Live, about to close it out for the weekend. But before we do, tomorrow's the Army-Navy game. Before we do, Donald J. Trump, who, God willing, these days will go by quickly and these drones will, whatever. Donald J. Trump put out is it a truth or a tweet?
A truth.
A truth, okay. He goes back and forth between his site and his friend's site. Mystery drone sightings all over the country. Can this really be happening without our government's knowledge? I don't think so. Thank you. Let the public know. And now, otherwise, shoot them down. That's what it means to have a person protecting you.
That's a real president right there. That's my president.
Protecting you. How about we compromise a little? Shoot a couple of them down, pick up the scraps, and let's figure out what the hell they are. You think we can catch them? Look at these big planes. Think we can catch one? Bring it down? Oh, I hope E.T. doesn't come out of one of them.
Be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised.
We should have had my son Angelo on tonight for 2 reasons. One, because finally, after all these years, Crystal Magnum told us what I guess we didn't know, that she was lying all along, and those kids at Duke didn't rape her. They had nothing to do with a rape. She made it all up. This is way too late. And this is after she kills somebody. And then said that it was self-defense. But a jury disagreed, and she's spending 18 years in jail. So she went on a podcast, Let's Talk with Kat, and expressed her regret for ruining the lives of those 4 young men.
Video.
She didn't say much about killing the guy that she killed, about ruining his life, or the one she attempted to kill before that. The governor of North Carolina came out and said, "Oh, remember, I was the attorney general and I exposed her." No, he didn't, actually. He waited until the kids' lives were ruined, and then he jumped in.
I
because he's a Democrat.
There's a video.
That's her right there.
They raped me when they didn't, and that was wrong. And I testified falsely against them by saying that they raped me when they didn't, and that was wrong. And I betrayed the trust of a lot of other people who believed in me. And made up a story that wasn't true because I wanted validation from people and not from God. And that was wrong. And I hope that they can forgive me. And I testified falsely against them by saying that they raped me when they didn't, and that was wrong. And
I do hope they've recovered from it, from all that I've heard and seen. I think they have, but it took a long time. I know that Mr. Pagonis' life was ruined by Sharpton, who now has got a big contract on. Is it on CNN that he shoots his lying mouth off? Yeah, and people, would you please stop calling him Reverend too? Or at least tell me the seminary he went to, the college he graduated from, or the church that he ever had. Otherwise, I'm going to go around calling myself Reverend. I think I have more theological training than he does. How do we cut through all these phonies? They're ruining us. Well, I hope that this woman means what she said. And I hope this isn't an attempt to get her 14 to 18-year sentence shortened, because she deserves that sentence. She deserves that sentence for murdering a man, and she deserves that sentence for ruining the lives of those young people. And if she's really sincere, she won't ask to be let out early, because she'll want to do penance. And then we can really respect her. Because I do believe that people can reform. And I also believe that people can con you. And you got to be real careful. So that's Kristen Mangum, just giving us one more. How many of these happened and we never found out? Well, women are always telling the truth, right? Well, she's a woman. I know Justice Jackson might not know that, but she's a woman. That's a woman. And she was lying completely and doing horrible damage to innocent young men. I want you to look at my picture that I showed last night. I have to show it again tonight because this is disgraceful. And that's the baby Jesus with a kippah on him. I'm sure people with kippahs on them murdered some people today. Because they're Jewish or whatever, or if they didn't do it today, they did it yesterday or the day before. And to put that on him is a sacrilege. And the Pope has it at the Vatican. I've always wanted to go to midnight mass at the Vatican. I don't now. I have to consider him the Pope because, like Biden, he was legally put there. I had to consider him the president. I didn't have to respect how he got there in the case of Biden or anything else about him. And this Pope, I am confounded by things he does that are anti-Catholic, including not just that, but allowing the Red Chinese to have a voice in who the bishops are. What are you, crazy? What the hell did liberation theology do to you, Pope? I don't know. I know enough about the theology of the Roman Catholic faith to know that he is infallible in matters of faith and morals, but nothing else. And he has to speak ex cathedra for that to happen. He has to invoke that power. Ex cathedra means from the seat of St. Peter. And if he were to say, for example, that the moon is green, it wouldn't mean anything. You could make fun of him, or that climate change is real. Now, he'd have to go ahead and say it from the seat of St. Peter. It would have to be a matter of faith and morals. Well, the moon being green is not a matter of faith and morals, and climate change is not a matter of faith and morals. So you don't have to follow him. He's just another talking head. So to do that to Jesus, whoa, the last Pope retired. How about, why don't you retire and go back to whatever communist enclave you came from, huh? Bragg has now made a motion to keep open the sentencing of Trump for 4 years. Come on. Hasn't you, Judge Merchan, hasn't your daughter made enough money on this case? About time we know you made $500,000. Now, it's a bullshit case. He never was charged with a crime. You never proved a crime. And you didn't get a unanimous verdict. And that's only 3 of the 15 things that are wrong with it. You turned out to disgrace the reputation of judges all over the world. You exposed the New York, particularly Manhattan judiciary, as completely a group of Democratic crooked hacks, because they're all appointed by hacks with the facade of an election, which is bull. You, an anger moron, did so much damage to the reputation of decent judges. They should all get together and throw you out. Will you dismiss the damn case? Same thing with the anger moron case. The one that James ran on, I'm going to go after Trump. I'm going to go after Trump. You voted for. Well, I think we've covered just about everything. Looks like the confirmation process is going along beautifully now that the MAGA people have all gotten in, and they're letting the Republicans know you're going to pay dearly if you don't allow this president to have his people so he can do his miracles, huh? Because he can't do it without his people. And we really didn't vote for you, Senator, whoever the hell you are. You all ran behind him. He put you there. He put you there for a reason, because the American people want something done. And they want a guy like Pete Hegseth. You may not like Pete, but we do. And don't give us this stuff about, you're worried about he was drinking. You should be the last ones to worry about that. Wiener's going to run for office again. I think I covered that already. Yeah. I guess with the support of John Catsimatidis. Even though he has to do a warning that he's a sexual predator or whatever the hell he is, sexual offender, a lowlife. And thank goodness this week, Daniel Penny was found not guilty. Too bad that Alvin Bragg wasn't found guilty. He should be. And there they are. Well, it'll be a long weekend, a lot going on in Syria. We didn't get a chance to cover it. We will on Monday. And if anything happens, we'll certainly break in during the weekend and give you whatever it is you're not getting. Please come to us for the news that's censored, that's not presented, that's not given to you, or at least not given to you in a timely way. The only way we can remain a government of laws and a constitutional republic is if our people are informed. And this is what they've deprived us of. And we're working really hard to rectify that, not just me, but a lot of other people, and you are too. So we'll be back on Monday at 7 on Frank speech. And then we'll be, and on X, and then we'll be here at America's Mayor Live on X at 8 on Monday. And again, we'll break in if we have to at any time if something important is happening that you're not going to get the full lowdown on, because we still live in a very highly censored society, because the Biden Easters are still there. Pray for the people of Israel. Pray for the people of Ukraine. Pray for the people of Iran. Pray for the people in New Jersey. Who knows what the hell is flying over them. And thank you, God, for all that you've given us. God bless America.
It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze,